Let's be honest, when you can't handle the costs of living, all those beautiful words and I love yous vanish like cigarette smoke. If you think this video is going to teach you how to be happy in poverty, close it right now. This is a place for realists, not dreamers. In this section, I'm going to expose a truth that reeks of reality. In an age of crisis, money isn't just a medium of exchange, it's the backbone of your respect. I've experienced with all my being how financial aimlessness and fear of the future can turn the gentlest women into the most aggressive beings because they want security from you, not just a man's promise. I learned that authority means having a financial war map. It means your partner knows that even if the world turns upside down, you know how to pull your weight. If you don't learn how to engineer your shared wealth, your love will soon be buried under the rubble of debt. You're about to learn how to be the architect of security, not a spectator of collapse. Step into the unseen. Welcome to the ultimate masterclass in decoding the female mind. Do you recall our discussion in episode 11 regarding a woman's emotional security? Today, we are going to explore how, without the foundation of financial security, that very emotional sanctuary can suffer a systemic collapse. Transitioning from emotional poverty to economic prosperity. Is money a tool for intimacy or a weapon of power? Greetings to our dedicated and forward-thinking audience. Today, we delve into a subject that, according to the statistical data of 2026, constitutes the root cause of over 60% of both emotional and legal divorces: money. However, contrary to prevailing public perception, the fundamental issue is rarely a scarcity of funds, but rather the complex psychology of money management. In February 2026, we inhabit a global landscape where the instantaneous, high-stakes fluctuations in the prices of the dollar, gold, and Bitcoin overshadow not only our bank balances, but the very neurological equilibrium of our households. Our foundational inquiry in this episode is: how can we insulate our intimate relationships from financial volatility in an environment where the price of a coin fluctuates like the erratic heartbeat of a hyperstimulated patient? From the rigorous perspective of wealth psychology, every human being carries a money script, a subconscious blueprint inherited from childhood. Some individuals perceive money as the ultimate symbol of security, leading them to obsessively accumulate currency and assets, while others view money as a vehicle for freedom and power, seeking to immediately capitalize on the luxuries of modern technology. A relational catastrophe occurs when a saver is united with a spender under one roof without a shared financial vocabulary. My psychological critique of couples in 2026 is their systemic avoidance of financial transparency. Remaining silent about incomes, expenditures, and debts in this volatile era is akin to navigating a high-speed vehicle with closed eyes on a road prone to landslides caused by the sudden devaluation of national currency. Let us penetrate the deeper layer of power and autonomy. In recent years, with the massive influx of women into the sectors of technology, artificial intelligence, and global markets, the traditional power structure, predicated on the man as the sole breadwinner, has effectively collapsed. However, many men still harbor a subconscious drive to utilize financial control as a mechanism for maintaining domestic authority. Psychological interpretation reveals that when you evade financial transparency with your spouse, you are essentially communicating, "I do not trust your maturity to co-manage our existence." In 2026, the authority of a modern man is not found in secrecy, but in his capacity to construct a shared emotional financial holding, a space where both partners possess an acute strategic understanding of their position in the gold or real estate markets. In this era where fintech tools and AI-driven financial management applications are universally accessible, there is no longer a valid excuse for fiscal disorganization. To ensure your podcast script achieves maximum volume and intellectual impact, you must emphasize this. In a relationship, money is either the glue or the axe. If capital is utilized for collective goals, such as travel, property acquisition, or investment in advanced education, it acts as the glue of intimacy. Conversely, if it is weaponized for humiliation, control, or deception, it becomes a sharpened axe that severs the roots of trust. In the subsequent parts, we will explore the protocol of joint bank accounts, how to discuss debts without shame, and the psychology of risk-taking in shared investments. We are learning how to transform the pursuit of wealth into a shared romantic experience in the turbulent world of 2026. The Financial War Room Strategy: Transforming Market Volatility into Relational Intimacy. In this second segment of our clinical deconstruction of money psychology, we must address the most operational layer of existence in 2026: the management of emotional stress triggered by inflation and potential market deficits. From the rigorous perspective of neuroeconomics, when we witness a precipitous decline in the value of our assets, be it in stock markets, crypto, or gold, our brain enters a state of survival threat. In this physiological state, cortisol levels surge, making us disproportionately irritable and prone to verbal aggression. My psychological critique of most men in February 2026 is that during financial crises, they instinctively construct a wall of silence and secrecy. They operate under the illusion that by concealing financial losses or significant debts, they are shielding the family. However, this toxic silence is the primary catalyst for sowing the seeds of profound mistrust in a woman's heart. In these high-stakes moments, a woman is not primarily traumatized by the scarcity of money, but by the lack of intimacy and transparency. Let us introduce the technique of weekly strategic briefings to replace erratic, anger-driven arguments. As the authoritative leader of your life, you must facilitate a secure psychological space where money is discussed not with hostility, but with the logic of business. In 2026, where technology grants us real-time access to the prices of coins and dollars, I propose the implementation of a full transparency protocol. When your spouse is privy to the nuances of your financial strategies and even your potential risks, she transforms from a critic into your most valuable ally. Relationship psychology has empirically proven that the suffering derived from a shared financial loss is significantly less devastating than the trauma of discovering a hidden debt. You must learn to grip each other's hands more firmly during economic storms, rather than scapegoating one another for the inevitable waves of the global market. A deeper layer of this discourse is the definition of individual roles within a collective budget. With the radical shift in economic paradigms and the active participation of women in technology and AI-based sectors, the archaic models of my money versus your money have become obsolete. Psychological interpretation in 2026 advocates for the three-account model: a joint account for domestic expenditures and long-term investments in gold or real estate, and two individual accounts to preserve a sense of personal autonomy and freedom. This system minimizes the domestic friction associated with the question, "Why did you purchase this?" A man who grants his wife financial autonomy is, in reality, gifting her respect and psychological security. And this security is the most direct pathway to enhancing the quality of emotional and physical intimacy within the home. Finally, we must concentrate on managing luxury expectations in the era of social media. In 2026, where digital storefronts perpetually induce a sense of financial inadequacy, it is your duty to co-create a localized and personal definition of wealth with your partner. Do not allow the fluctuations in currency prices or the performative lifestyles of tech celebrities to hijack your domestic peace. To ensure your script reaches its maximum volume and impact, emphasize this. The wealthiest couples are not those with the highest physical assets, but those who have accumulated the most liquid emotional capital in their relational bank. In the subsequent parts, we will explore the sensitive topic of financially supporting families of origin and emotional financial wills to learn how to transform money into a bridge toward eternal love. In this critical phase of our deep dive analysis, we encounter one of the most fundamental linguistic and psychological knots in modern relationships: the divergence in financial worldviews. From the perspective of evolutionary psychology, men and women often perceive the concept of material resources through vastly different filters. For many men in 2026, the accumulation of capital in the form of gold, currency, or real estate is perceived as the ultimate power to protect the tribe, the family. However, for many women, money is primarily a tool for enhancing the quality of life and creating shared experiences. The psychological tragedy occurs when couples, instead of integrating these two perspectives, descend into a cycle of mutual blame. The husband accuses the wife of reckless extravagance, while the wife characterizes the husband as emotionally miserly or obsessed with hoarding. In February 2026, where global inflation and the volatility of the technology market have given every cent a strategic value, this divergence can lead to an exhausting stalemate. Image depicting the psychological tension between the money vigilance script and the money status script. Let us meticulously deconstruct the concept of investing in intimacy. Many high-achieving men in the coin and forex markets mistakenly assume that providing sheer financial security is the totality of their obligation. However, the psychological truth is that if you possess billions in assets, but lack the emotional capacity to spend a portion of it without acute anxiety on a high-quality travel experience or a domestic luxury, you are essentially a wealthy pauper. You must acknowledge that the art of enjoying wealth is an acquired skill that requires intentional practice. Conversely, your spouse must recognize that in the unstable era of 2026, maintaining a strategic reserve for economic crises is not a sign of stinginess, but a commendable manifestation of protective responsibility. The key to resolving this enigma is developing a shared financial language where both the need for security and the need for vitality are validated. Another highly sensitive challenge is the issue of financial support for families of origin. In 2026, due to systemic economic pressures, many parents have become increasingly dependent on their adult children for assistance. My psychological critique of men is that they often perform these financial acts in secrecy to avoid domestic confrontation. However, this secrecy is a relational time bomb. Financial transparency dictates that even if you intend to support your parents, this act must be conducted with the full knowledge and agreement of your spouse. You must define this as a specific budget line item within your financial war room. An authoritative man is one who can maintain a balance between loyalty to the roots, parents, and commitment to the branch, spouse, in a manner that is devoid of deception or financial infidelity. Finally, we must focus on shared financial goal setting. In the age of AI and the metaverse, our financial objectives are no longer limited to the acquisition of physical real estate. You and your spouse must sit down to draw a shared emotional treasure map. Ask, where do we envision ourselves in 5 years? Are we pursuing a career migration in the tech sector, or are we aiming to increase our portfolio in the gold and jewelry markets? When the goal is unified, enduring the hardships of the currency market becomes significantly more tolerable for both partners. To ensure your script is voluminous and impactful, emphasize this. Money alone does not generate happiness, but financial harmony builds the infrastructure where love can flourish without tremors. In the final part, we will explore the peace protocol during bankruptcy and the psychology of inheritance to close this vital file with authority. The Crisis Resilience Protocol. Maintaining a full heart when the pocket is empty. We have finally arrived at the definitive terminal of this socio-economic and psychological deconstruction. In this concluding segment, we must address the most grueling trial any relationship can endure: emotional management during financial failure. From the perspective of clinical psychology, bankruptcy or devastating losses in the currency and gold markets can inflict a trauma upon the relational structure that may take years to remediate. In February 2026, where risks stemming from rapid technological disruptions and unpredictable global economic shifts threaten every investment, an authoritative man must understand that his intrinsic value is not a function of the numerical balance in his bank account. My psychological critique of men in this era is their tendency toward a total identity collapse during financial setbacks. This internal disintegration often drives a wedge between them and their spouses, whereas in reality, the two-person alliance is the only tangible asset remaining in times of crisis. Let us meticulously examine the concept of the Emotional Stability Pact. You and your spouse must establish a preemptive agreement that our love is not a hostage to the market's conditions. If you experience a failure in an AI-driven venture or suffer a deficit in coin trading, you must strictly forbid blame and humiliation from entering your domestic sanctuary. Psychological interpretation reveals that men who proactively involve their spouses in the reality of the crisis and solicit emotional consultation, rather than just solutions, recover their wealth cycles much faster than those who retreat into isolation. In 2026, a man's strength is not found in being invincible, but in his authoritative transparency during the peak of hardship. Articulating the phrase, "The financial situation has not gone according to plan, but we are a team and we will rebuild from scratch," creates a psychological security that no currency-safe deposit box can ever provide. The final layer of this discourse is the concept of the emotional financial legacy. In our hyper-accelerated world, we are in a perpetual race to accumulate more wealth, but how often do we pause to contemplate the purpose of this wealth? To ensure your podcast script reaches its most profound crescendo, you must emphasize this. Money, ultimately, must serve your internal peace and personal growth. If the pursuit of capital has stripped you of the time required to witness your spouse's smile or your children's growth, you are essentially engaged in a net loss transaction. In macroeconomic analysis, we prioritize sustainability. In a relationship, you must seek sustainable wealth, wealth acquired without auctioning off your intimacy or mental health. In conclusion, as we wrap up episode 15, remember that in the turbulent market of 2026, the only asset whose value never crashes is mutual trust. Do not allow the flickering numbers on digital monitors to chill the warmth of your hands. The prices of dollar and gold will rise and fall, but the value of your presence in your spouse's life must maintain a perpetual upward trajectory. In episode 16, we will dive into the fascinating and vital topic of the psychology of leisure and shared travel. How quality rest becomes the engine for your next success, where we learn to exit the cocoon of work and reconstruct our souls through tourism and art. We are learning to create memories that no inflation can ever devalue.